Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now to bridge a little bit from scanning of human bodies or technology to do this, we do something different. We also scan things. We scan software in complex IT systems. So I'd like to introduce you, give you a short introduction into software quality systems, SQS. We're a company that has been around since more than 33 years now. It's quite an old business, but we've always been focused on one thing, which is testing software, testing IT systems in typically very complex enterprise environments. So we're not testing Excel and Word, but we're working for the likes of Deutsche Bank or UBS or Barclays Bank or Allianz Insurance and test their complex back office IT systems and the software they use. This is a huge market, and you'll see a bit later on what are the drivers and the dynamics of this market. SQS, we are a services business, so it's very much around teams of people, teams of consultants doing those kind of jobs, but it's based on a very strong methodology. It's based on technology. It's based on tools they bring with them. Because to test software, just to give an idea, if you want to test whatever it is, an equities trading system or a payment processing system, there are between 7,000 to 10,000 functions you need to test in the end. You need to retest this almost once a week. You need to test this with real-life testing data and real-life client data or transactions. So it is very much a technology-based, a methodology-based business, but it is a services business. They are, to give you a little bit of an idea because I know lots of people say, I've never heard about the software testing exists. You will see later on, this is an about $11 billion US market, which is spent every year on software testing. So what are the entry points? And this is a little bit about an IT life cycle, a software life cycle. There are various entry points where we come in. Typically, the one in the middle is what's called integration testing. So very much if companies are implementing a new system, if they upgrade to a new version of SAP or Oracle or a core banking system, the system integrator, maybe IBM or Accenture, they implement the system, they customize it, and we come in as the testing party. This is one point of entry. The other one is product testing at the very left-hand side. So we also work for a number of software product companies that actually build like core banking systems. For instance, Avalok or Temenos, these are kind of two banking systems. So we very often, or there's a system produced by Siemens used in industry called Teamcenter. By testing those systems for the manufacturer, we usually gain a lot of experience. We gain a database of what needs to be tested, which can be reused when we test it again when the software is getting implemented with clients, which is part of the integration testing. And finally, which is by now actually our biggest market, is testing software in professional IT systems, which is live, which is an operation. Now, many of you may probably say, why does software need to be tested once it's running? In fact, software is nothing constant. If you take a core banking or a core retail application or a core insurance application, actually, a normal bank has about 500 applications. That means 500, if you take Barclays Bank, they would have 500 different software products that make up their back office systems. And these get updated partly daily, but at least weekly. And the key drivers for this constant change is regulation, is compliancy. It's being in line with all the regulatory requirements which are demanded by kind of the 50 countries they operate in. The other point is, of course, also changes in, marketing creates a new product. In most companies today, if there's a new product, a new service, the product or the service doesn't exist, can't be executed unless it's working in IT, unless it exists in the software. And it can't be bought, it can't be sold, you wouldn't find it in the warehouse. And these are the key drivers that software constantly needs to be retested. And very often when you change only few things, you have to retest the whole system, because very often it can produce kind of the wrong invoices, the wrong statements, what are your assets in the warehouse whatsoever. So the majority of the business today comes from retesting software and systems which are in operation. And the sweet spot of that is, as you will see in a minute, this is very much a long-term business which is kind of outsourced to us. In fact, SQS, I didn't mention this, is the world's largest specialist in software testing. Our main competitors are the big system integrators, likes of IBM, Accenture, Cognizant, whatsoever. They also do that, but they're a little bit like a department store. They do all kinds of IT services. They're not very focused on any of the services, while we are the kind of independent set of eyes to verify what the system integrators have implemented and help our clients to mitigate their risk. We are going to release our full year numbers, 2014 numbers, on the 4th of March. So this is just a little bit to give you a feel for our size and a few things we updated in the recent trading update we put out in January. So last year we did about 270 million euros in revenue. SQS is headquartered in Germany. This is where the company was founded 33 years ago. Our two biggest regional markets are Germany and the UK, and I'll show you some of the other regional markets. We've been listed on AIM since almost 10 years now. We've always been a strong growth business. Also for the full year, with those numbers which we've already put out to the market, we again grew by almost 20%, half of which was organic growth, and the other half was acquisitive. And we also seek going forward to have a strong growth rate, not only on the top line, but even more so on the bottom line. But it will always be a mix of probably half is organic and the other half is acquisitive. Like in all markets, size matters in software testing. To be seen as a serious kind of supplier of testing services to the kind of clients we work for, and these are typically the kind of FTSE 100 type of organizations. You need to have a certain size and scalability and a certain global reach, which we do have. We have three major lines of business by which we run our business. And, I've mentioned to you a few minutes ago, the majority of our business today comes from testing software which is in operation, which is kind of just retesting what's running, that it still runs with all the changes that happen every week. So if you look at the very left-hand side, today almost half of our business comes from what we call managed services. And managed services is the most profitable business line with gross margins above 35%, 36%, which is a very good gross margin for an IT services business, and with, after including all costs, with an EBIT contribution of 14%. This is the most profitable business. It has the advantage, this used to be almost zero 5-6 years ago, because also the market has changed very much towards these more long-term deals. These are long-term deals, typically 3 years order backlog. You can execute the majority of those deals in test centers. We have test centers in India, Egypt, South Africa, 2 Eastern European locations, a small one also Northern Ireland, which are typically, as you can see, low-cost regions, because to be successful, to be profitable in IT services, you need to have the right mix between on-site consultancy, which is not very profitable, but actually make your profits with a more repetitive business in places like India and others. And for this, you need a high degree and a high amount of long-term business. So managed services In the full year, it was about 45, 46%. Will soon be more than 50%. This is the key growth area. While the other areas are more what we call specialist consultancy and regular testing services. They are more kind of the entry into new clients. You always start small in IT services. You always start with, the client says, we don't need, I have a project that has an issue. Do you have a few experts you can send to me? This is the small kind of business, but out of this, you got to pick and select the right clients that have the potential to grow into this kind of long-term commit kind of business. And we've been very successful to deploy this kind of strategy. It has added a lot of visibility to our business over the past few years, because traditionally, 10 years ago, was never had a long-term visibility. At least now we do have, at least for more than half of the business, a multi-year order backlog and visibility. The industries in which we operate is typically very much dominated by what we call BFSI, which stands for banking, financial services, and insurance. Banking and insurance both are more than 50% of the business. This is also very much in line with the buying power of the market, because many of you work in financial services yourselves probably, so you do know without IT you can't do anything, you can't even get any information, and the systems need to be correct. You can't allow for many errors in there. So banking, financial services, insurances, two biggest verticals will always be. Also, especially in the UK, we're pretty strong in what's called retail logistics. These are clients with the likes of Specsavers or Morrisons or Sainsbury's. So big retailers investing in their online delivery, online fulfillment systems, but also manufacturing has been, and telecommunications are smaller segments. Probably manufacturing has the biggest growth potential over the next few years to be probably up to 20% of total, because now manufacturing companies are also investing more in their professional IT systems and use more external software testing to do that. And regionally, we do have a historically strong exposure to the European market and the UK. We've started a business in North America just 2 years ago. This year, actually, it's going to be way above 10%. We've also grown our Asian and Middle Eastern business substantially, and we've said it a number of times that on the acquisitive side, we're very much focused now going forward on North America because this is a very attractive market, as you can see on the next slide. The market for what's called specialist software testing, which specialist software testing is about, where the testing services contract is given to a supplier like us in a separate contract, is about $11 billion US. This is evidenced by various market studies. This is here the one Nelson Hall did, but also Gartner, ITC, all see the market in the same kind of size. But the key thing is about this market in terms of in terms of buying power. 50% is in North America, where we are currently underrepresented, but it represents for us a huge growth potential. And in Europe, 40% of the market is where we derive the majority of our business from. So hence the kind of strong focus now going forward on the US market. And we started the business in North America 2 years ago as a greenfield business with zero revenue. And last year we did about $25 million there. So it has grown quite nicely, and we've won really great clients like Ford Motor Company and Delphi Automotive and Chrysler. Very much many companies in the manufacturing field. So it is very much our future is going to be in North America, and the growth rates of this market segment are between 10 and North America even 14%. So it is a strong growth market, and if we continue to win market share like we did last year and do about 20% top line growth, so it is a very attractive but also well-established growth market. So as a summary of all that, we've put out an inline trading update a few weeks ago on the 2014 numbers. We've had business was good. We've had a good start also into the new year. The key focus is on two areas. One is to build out managed services, which is the kind of long-term visibility part of our business, and grow this to be more than 50% of our business. Another focus is very much going forward over the next 2 or 3 years to focus and build out our market presence in North America, which will also be acquisitive. These are the two major areas to continue to support those high growth rates, but also improve the profitability of the company even more so by focusing on managed services. That's all what I wanted to bring across to you, and I'm happy if anybody wants to come to our booth. We are here the whole day. Thank you.